GG no Re, we're back. Back with another episode of quality internet RPG related content.
Huh?
We've been teasing you. We've been holding it back. But here it come.
Long time coming.
Here come that episode.
It's coming now.
Roll Tide or no? This is an episode in which I, Daniel, proposed various topics that I've selected beforehand. Not elaborated on. I'm not interpreting them for you. I'm proposing these blindly to the other hosts, and we are going to respond Roll Tide or no, depending on how we feel about those topics. If you wish, you may raise your hand and elaborate. Otherwise...
Wait, raise your hand?
Yes. Otherwise, we will simply proceed after a simple Roll Tide or no to the next topic.
Okay.
So, for
Are
instance,
we going to respond in unison or go around the table?
it'll be in unison.
Okay.
Or
This
wait.
is great because we have not really looked at the list. I think I looked at it initially like a month ago.
I know, I have not looked
No,
at this
I
at
haven't
all.
looked at
There
it.
is no
look
prep
at it.
whatsoever, no thought.
No, you'd have to be able to edit blog posts on our website to be able to look at it.
It's like a
Which
game
Jim
show.
can, but
Yeah, it's like a game show
I
or
thought
something.
maybe
This
you
is-
put something in the
No.
Discord at one point.
well, do you guys want to go around the table and say it?
If we had a...
Yeah, let's do that. That'll be
Okay.
quick.
Okay.
We won't do it in unison.
Okay.
And then,
I don't know. I thought
You-
unison would be good.
okay. And then if somebody disagrees, then
Unison reaction.
we can interrogate that.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll do it in unison.
You'll sense if it's mixed, like,
We'll see
you
it.
can hear it.
Yeah.
And if it's in unison, it's very clear.
Because this is an audio product, you will be able to hear it as well, dear listener. Are you guys ready for Roll Tide or not? Do you have any questions?
Can we call ourselves...
I will do a visual countdown, and on the third digit erecting, you
Of your
will
fingers.
say your response.
Okay.
Can we be called the Crimson Council?
No.
No.
What is it, Jim?
I fear that this isn't cultural appropriation. I mean, we actually do live in the South. We don't necessarily have Southern accents, but
We can.
Roll.
my parents have very strong Southern accents.
I come from them.
Born
So-
and raised Birmingham.
Am I the only one that's not from Birmingham area?
Yeah.
I technically was born in Atlanta and lived there till I was 12 and then moved here.
Okay.
Practically.
Yeah, but you're still in the
Still
South.
South.
Yeah.
Dirty
You
South.
sound like such a
I
Yankee,
guess.
though.
My father is from Albany, New York.
That's from New York.
But then he moved to Albany, Georgia.
Did they really say it like that?
You're
No,
kidding.
my family does not say like that, but
No.
maybe some of their extended family do.
To Albany?
Nikki's
Albany,
family.
Georgia.
My wife's family lives in.
It's so
in
perfect.
Albany.
Really? Roll Tide.
Yeah.
Or not.
No.
Let's start with Albany, Georgia.
No.
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 No. Okay.
You don't want to go around their parts.
There's not much there.
Nope.
My grandmother still lives there.
All right. Well, that's how it works. We're going to see how far we get.
I don't think we need the countdown.
We don't need the countdown. You're right. You're right. It'll work.
Still natural.
Roll Tide or no? Tieflings.
No.
Roll Tide.
What is Tiefling?
Babe, he's a
Yeah.
baby.
Yeah, I say roll tide.
What?
Oh, that's
He's
cute.
No.
He's a baby.
No.
This podcast is for everyone who knows everything.
All right.
Tieflings are
These
like
are tieflings. They're like devil people. They have tails. They're like all the Tumblr kids love them.
Roll Tide.
See, you're definitely like strong in the millennial camp. So of course you love tieflings.
I've got a member.
So tieflings, I believe, came out in 2E as a monster race. Of course, 2E, right? You know what I'm
Of
saying?
course, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And then 4th edition made them a playable PC race by default in the PHB.
No, I wouldn't want it to be playable.
Yeah, so that's what I mean is tiefling as a playable race.
No.
I say Roll Tide.
I think.
You Roll Tide too?
Raise my hand. Okay. To elaborate.
Yes. Okay.
I think there's a lot of really cool, fun, dynamic, and drama that you can put into your character and your role play, just like naturally without even having to really think about it or have a background or anything. It's just really easy to have
I'm going through a whirlwind of emotions because I was focusing on all the positives, then all the negatives, and now I think I want to ask Daniel why he said Roll Tide.
so unprofessional.
5 lashes. I believe that gets a gnaw.
Why does Daniel say roll tide? That's interesting.
I can weigh in on the negative too before we hear Daniel's counterpoint here. I feel like if you're a tiefling in most of these campaigns, so most have an admixture that's low in tiefling. You're kind of too special. You stick out too much. I think it's very easy to be self-centered and make it about you. And I'm the tiefling in the bar and whatever. Whereas all the other races, they're just, the old school races are all basically just humans of different sizes. Really, you can blend some lore into it, but you can imagine sort of what it's like to be them in a way. And I think it's a tiefling even. Come on.
It's like dude, man, guy, and then demon child.
Yeah,
it's like you're gonna be the tour, the edgelord, because
you have a tail and you have horns.
They are definitely edgelords. They're homeboy.
It's a very tour kind of thing. That's all I'm saying.
Dragonborn are in there too.
Dragonborn is the next one.
Okay.
Dragonborn is less that than Tiefling, especially like starting with 4E.
Okay, let's not talk about Dragonborn yet.
Okay, sorry.
So we are mixed on this. I like Tiefling if they are special and well thought out in the milieu. If they're not just other demon people. Put a little thought into it, make them a little different, give a 3-paragraph write-up to people who want to be tieflings, then I'm fine with it. But it has to be in a certain thing, like not a super grounded campaign. You don't want to have a bunch of tieflings running around. But in a standard 5e or 4e, 3e campaign, it's fine.
It's fine.
I think all the edgelords, it's that way. It depends on the campaign.
Words of wisdom. Dragonborn.
Roll tide.
Roll tide.
Roll tide.
Jim says...
I think they're okay. I don't know.
Is that one of the options?
That's not one of the options.
I know the Skyrim Dragonborn, but what is the D&D Dragonborn?
They're like bipedal dragon people.
They're just, as a tiefling is to a demon person, so a dragonborn is to a dragon person.
Dragonborn look like Argonians, but with a little more dragon and less lizard.
And they're more thick.
Okay, so Jim here, I'm gonna say nah again.
There you go.
This may not be expected. I don't know, but to me, not having the same I wasn't a Skyrim player. I don't relate to lizard people very well. I just don't get it. Okay.
But as an option, I think you'd be the perfect person to play something like a Dragonborn. You're not going to be the snowflake character. Sorry, I need to get closer. Yeah, Jim, I think the next challenge you need to take on is playing one of these characters.
I need to spend some more time in their head to really try and understand. I relate poorly to lizards. Maybe you guys are different.
They're in control of the government.
Yeah, so I feel like I'd be cold-blooded. I can't get into it.
I think it'll unlock something deep inside you once you get into the shoes of one of these creatures.
Into the scales.
I mean, but in a sense, I don't know. I feel like we're applying very narrow stereotypes to these skins of human characteristics. It's not like we're thinking like a lizard person or like a demon person in any real sense. You kind of see what I mean?
Right. It's always going to be human.
Exactly. And you can't. It's hard to really step outside of that. So you say, oh well, I'm a dragonborn. That means I'm going to be lawful. I'm going to be dragony, and that's going to be something that challenges me in some way. But really, I mean.
You get a breath.
You can be a human. That's the same thing. That's what I'm saying.
Maybe
you can breathe fire though.
Try hard.
You can be a human who's from that same kind of society, except you're actually a human and you relate to it. You're not a cold, dead-eyed lizard person.
And my response is roll tide if you put some work in it to tailor it to the campaign in a way that makes it feel special and not just a human with roughs that needs moisturizer.
That's what I'm saying.
I think
that's what I feel like they're mostly played as. Yeah.
I think that the Dragonborn fit in perfectly with the Alabama stuff that you had built. It was great.
Oh, because there wasn't a lot. There was one or two, right?
Yeah, but it was still.
There was one Dragonborn, right? I mean,
there were Dragonborn.
There were more,
but it fit the aesthetic, and I just think you did a good job working it in. There was a lot of dragon stuff going on.
There was lore, but it's in my Evernote, and I don't remember what it was. I'd have to look it up.
Mm-hmm.
But
and we found the first Dragonborn.
Yeah, it was different from regular Dragonborn lore. There.
Yeah, it was. The light spell as a cantrip.
Roll tide.
No.
Never.
No way.
So,
no.
I have to say no.
Oh, surprising.
I really do.
The availability of light.
Yeah. So back in the day, light was a first level spell, which means it was like the only magic spell you could cast that day if you were a wizard.
Oh, so as a cantrip.
So as a cantrip, you can cast it all day. You can go blee 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 light 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 light.
I thought you guys were going from the approach that it's so useless that why should it be there? What does it do?
No.
No.
Well, it's awesome.
Because the way that he likes to run things in old school is that basically there's usually no light sources in the dungeons you're going to. Who's got the torch? Decrement torches, guys. Time to decrement torches. Do you got light? Sorry, did you take it?
Need to go underwater? Does the wind go through and blow out your torches? Did you drop your torch? So if you have light, you can just cast it on a coin and throw it. You can, and then cast it again.
And as a cantrip, you just catch it. You get light for free.
Okay, I haven't played enough, so
Yeah.
that's going to be a no from this perspective.
I say roll tide because I don't like dealing with all that garbage.
I know.
So it makes
Tim doesn't like the logistics of dungeon crawling.
Yeah, it makes it easy, and it makes your character feel a lot more powerful.
We don't want challenge
just-
in the game.
But
No.
I don't know.
I like challenges of a different sort.
I like the stress that comes with having to worry about making sure you have light.
I like that too. That's why I
Because
said no.
we had one experience, like when we were doing the what was it, the you redid the old module,
Done a lot
starts
of
with an
those.
H,
Hamlet?
we did Hamlet, and we were down at the crayfish, and the homeboy turned on us, and there was torches being dropped, and
Oh,
someone
that's
was feeling
right.
around in the dark and running down a dark hallway.
Yeah.
That was just it just made for a really great
so
scene.
fun.
And if we had light as a cantrip, then somebody probably would have had it on something,
Yeah.
or more than
Follow
one
up.
somebody's.
Follow
So-
up. Could it be a leveled spell though?
That's what I do.
And then what level?
It's traditionally first, and you can also use it to cast at an enemy's face to blind them.
Yeah, which
So
I like.
that's what I do when I run 5e.
You can
is
cast it on their retina.
Yeah.
I see
And
the
then,
retina.
and then they save or they're blinded for some amount of time.
Yeah.
Until the spell fizzles.
I guess what I don't like is that the assumption is almost always like these dungeons that you're going into, they never have any sort of light sources. Like there's never torches or anything. It's like why is there never anything in there that needs a natural source of light?
D nods excitedly. while Tim's
I would
asking.
feel better about it if I felt like there was a mix of we're going into these catacombs which might actually be occupied by another force that needs lights, and there's sporadically there are torches or something like that, but not always. But I don't like the assumption where it's no, it's a dungeon, ergo there's not going to be light and you have to figure it out.
Monsters can see in the dark.
I know, and I don't like that. I don't like it where it's just like it's a monster, ergo it can
I'm loving
see
it.
in the light. Just saying.
Equip your hand lantern.
Halflings. No.
Roll
I
Tide.
have to go roll tide.
Because
I
they're
haven't thought
basically
about
just
enough, but
they're basically just tiny people. Also, Lord of the Rings.
Yeah,
It's
I mean,
just, I think
I
it's
gotta
all based
side on the-
buy-in. Come on,
Yeah.
guys.
I'm so
Thank you,
Roll Tide.
thank you, Papa Tolkien, for all this that we have.
So I'm the only no? Wow.
my problem with halflings, like I've looked at them multiple times, and
Wait a second. Yes, tieflings. No, halflings.
see, here's my issue with halflings
He
is
hates dwarves.
that it's like when I think about
Little
halflings, I'm
people.
thinking about Lord of the Rings, and none of them had any kind of real adventuring skill. Frodo and Sam just kind of bumbled through it all and ate a lot of food, and
Say you got to go back to the OG. You got to go back to Bilbo.
Life skills.
Bilbo was picked because he was very sneaky and he was clever because hobbits naturally kind of are.
they're kind of
Tricky.
clever.
And he was the burglar
You're
of
right.
the group.
You
And he's
are
also
right.
lucky, which is something I keep bringing back in and keep rubbing in your face.
Like
over and over
all
and
that
over.
stuff is based on Tolkien's hobbits.
And he's small and doesn't make sounds when he walks.
Yeah.
And
That's
yeah.
just how they naturally is.
Yeah, okay. I guess going back to Bilbo, I could see it. I'm gonna go roll Tide. I guess.
Don't use
Lord of the Rings.
Merry and Pippin for that.
Yeah.
No.
Use Frodo and Bilbo. As
Did
your
we get
template.
a roll tide or not from you, Mason?
Roll Tide.
All right. Well, I'm the one no.
Why are you a no?
This is tough.
I don't like halflings in D&D unless I'm playing LOTR. Like if I'm playing a Lord of the Rings RPG, then roll tide. But otherwise,
Is it because they're
But
too
you like
small?
goblins? But goblins came from Lord of the Rings.
no. Goblins are like a generic fantasy thing that's been around since forever.
Yeah, but everything in D&D is basically the Tolkien version of goblins.
It's not true.
Yeah.
Uh-oh. Let's move on.
Elves. I'm gonna say A roll tide.
Yeah,
Roll
roll
Tide.
tide. Absolutely roll tide.
Roll time.
Yeah, no question.
Yeah.
What do you say to elves?
Oh, roll tide, absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, what?
Yeah, I can get completely behind that.
Half-elves, though.
Roll tide.
Roll Tide.
Roll tide.
Wait, but one thing about elves, I mean, is it often taken into account, anything about their lifespan, about their cultural activities, really? Or are they still just often played as edgelords? I mean,
Yep.
do you kind of, do you feel what I'm saying there? Because
Yeah.
they actually have a deep history. Anyways.
I think if you're
I
a
saw-
drow,
I have a-
a drow is definitely an edgelord.
Drow is definitely edgelord.
But-
Is Drow on here?
Yep.
Yeah. But yeah, I agree. Just with the other demi-humans, tieflings, dragonborns, you gotta make them fit into the setting. So like in CCQ, you guys have met elves, although you can't be elves, at least not yet. So they're special and a little different. They've got a lot of lore behind them. There you go. I like them.
Do we have to?
And I like Tolkien elves because they're so classy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tolkien elves are better than what's her name? Rolling elves.
Oh, and Witcher elves. I don't like Witcher elves.
I don't know the Witcher elves.
But
Well,
I guess the 5e.
Yeah, I mean, they're either super classy racist or they're like oppressed, and so they're basically rebels.
But
Yeah.
but the Tolkien elves were also largely isolated, right? I mean, so it
Yeah.
is kind of like 5e elves in a way.
Yeah, they're very isolated. No, I mean,
Well, when
not
you play
even-
a 5e elf, you're just playing a dude who's...
Yeah,
That's what I'm saying.
No, 5e elves are super integrated. Tolkien elves are like, no, they're completely isolated.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
They live
Yeah,
in
they're-
2 places in the world.
But they still have
Yeah.
a lot of qualities.
Most Tolkien races are isolated. Humans
Yeah,
are
Like the
isolated.
age,
I mean,
not
if you were,
sleeping.
Yeah.
Well, humans are not isolated in Tolkien. They're everywhere.
well, if
Yeah.
you were following elves, humans would be in their own.
Yeah, but humans are
Everywhere
everywhere,
space.
all over the map. But elves are in 2 places. Hobbits are in 1 place. Dwarves are basically in 1 place.
So do elves?
Two
Do
places.
they have trouble reproducing or so, you know what I mean? Why are they not
Too
just
busy
overrunning
just like
5e
strumming that
world?
harp.
Yeah, I mean, there's just I'm just saying there's a reason for the Lord of the
There's
Rings isolation and all this.
Different motivational inclinations, right?
I don't
They
remember.
don't care about certain.
What
things
do
that
they do
humans
with
care
their
about.
lives? They're super
They don't have-
super long lives.
They don't have the same ambitions as.
I mean,
humans, or as
eventually
much.
they go to Valinor.
Why would you be an elf adventurer, really? I mean, anyways.
Yeah, in Lord of the Rings,
Got
it
that
was,
wanderlust.
it was because the adventurers were sent on a mission by their king. And
Yeah.
That was pretty much it.
Yeah.
And that, well, you have some people who are like sentries. Like if you're on a borderland with the orcs, then you're going to be out hunting for orcs or whatever, like you see in Fellowship of the Ring.
Mm-hmm.
Because I just read that. But.
So if you were living long enough, you could conceivably get pretty wealthy, pretty rich enough, just some investment, some advantage of wisdom and knowledge with time. Maybe you can have a bunch of college degrees. I don't know, but you can certainly hire people to do that kind of work instead. You kind of see what I mean? Like you'd be more the hiring adventurers because you could hire 10 of you instead of going and doing it yourself.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Anyways,
I don't
maybe I'm
think
overthinking this.
I think you're thinking middle. You have a Middle Earth mindset.
Yeah.
They had a Valinor mindset.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they didn't think about that because they're like, it doesn't matter. I'm going to be sailing off to the east anyway.
Also, don't
west,
hire,
sailing off to the west. Sorry.
when you have elvish work to do, don't hire a human.
Is
You know
that
what
a
I'm saying?
thing?
I don't know. That's probably
It
a
can
thing.
be a thing. That's what the dwarves say too. That's
Yeah.
what the halflings say.
Speaking of dwarves. No.
Roll Tide.
Roll Tide.
Come on.
No.
Roll Tide, absolutely.
No.
Roll time.
Really?
I'm the only no again. I don't like dwarves. They're just Scottish people that are short.
Exactly. That's why I like them.
Just
Very stout. They like their drink. They know their
okay.
way around stone.
Are you talking about the Scots or dwarves?
Yes.
So that's what I'm saying.
Well, so I feel like.
So are you basically saying you don't like Scots?
I mean, they're Scots though. We're not talking about Scots. We're talking about dwarves.
Are we?
The dwarves
I thought
are
we were
just
talking about
basically
both.
like fantasy, short, weird Scots.
And
So-
that's fine with me. I want that.
So
Scots with
through
bearded women.
so through the powers of natural selection, I imagine a world where you could actually have divergent ancestries going into humans and dwarfs and elves and all this stuff, conceivably. So I kind of accept them just being like short, isolated. They lived underground. They could have gotten tough. To me, it just conceptually really fits. But I
The
come
only-
from that kind of standpoint.
The only
sorry.
dwarves I like are like really fairy style dwarves. Like not remotely human. And in the LOTR lore, it's kind of like that. They're a separate race entirely made by some god to drill under the mountains and stuff. Or if you're going to make fantasy Scots people, make them giants. Because that's what they were to the Romans. There were these weird giants that come from the Black Forests up there naked with paint all on them.
Well, you could do that, but they could be like, but you can't have them crawling around in caves and stuff.
No,
no, because you gotta be short.
Yeah,
but then you also gotta be strong.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm still no. Forgotten Realms, no.
Beg your pardon?
Forgotten Realms is a standard 5e setting.
I don't remember anything about that.
That's that's Drizzt, Elminster, Waterdeep, Baldur's Gate.
I'll say Roll Tide.
What is a Drizzt?
Yeah.
All the video games were set there.
I'll say Roll Tide because I have lots of ties, some good memories with Neverwinter Nights and a series of PC games. There's lots of good stories that were told there. I don't mind the mythos.
I'm going to say no because it's the epitome of normie D&D.
Yeah, but a lot of the stuff nowadays, I'm just like, bleh.
No, I mean, but if you're trying to play your game as if you're a character in the book, I guess that's kind of different. But I mean, just the stories themselves, I think they're fine. They're fun. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm gonna say.
I think Dritz is kind of corny, but
he is super corny. I am barely Roll Tide on that one.
Oh, okay, Roll Tide.
Just because. But see, here's the thing: like in a super normie group, I would hate it. But in the right group where we're just gonna like if we were to do our own thing,
Forgotten Realms.
I think I'd be fine with it.
The Remembered Realms.
But if I went and played at like Adventure League, or I went and just played with some random neckbeard, it would be bad.
And Mason, you've not played D&D in Normie Land, so you don't even know about Forgotten Realms, do you?
I know. I have no clue what that is.
Abstain. Tiamat.
Roll
Tide.
Oh, the
But which
five-headed-
Tiamat?
Well, any of them.
Oh yeah, Roll Tide.
The idea of Tiamat, just so good. So good. The execution of Tiamat can be lacking in some editions.
Yeah, there we go.
This is our
That's Chinese
beautiful.
Tiamat.
This is our unofficial Tiamat.
Yeah, we got a little incense statue that I got from Walmart for 9 Federal Reserve notes, and we used it as a mini when we fought Tiamat.
5-headed dragon god.
Evil
dragon
goddess.
Goddess.
As
Sounds pretty Roll Tide.
each head is a different color and has different like powers and stuff. She's great.
Does have a different
Love her.
personality.
Maybe.
Tiamat Bay. Okay, Tiamat is Bay. Megadungeons.
Roll Tide.
That's Roll Tide for me.
Yeah.
No.
Not from Tim. Doesn't like dungeons.
It's just too much.
He only likes dragons.
Just too much.
I'll give it a big old fresh-faced Roll Tide.
I like dungeons. I like them mega.
I've
John?
never been in one.
So
You're about
Look
to
at
be.
this mega dungeon.
Moria
You know how
would be
many
a mega
dungeons you can
dungeon,
fit in this
What's
bad
that?
boy?
Moria would be Mega Dungeon.
Yeah, Moria's a mega dungeon. Absolutely.
Roll Tide.
Dude, I think
Wait,
someone...
did you say Mario is?
Morio?
Moria.
Moria.
Oh.
The Mines of Moria.
Somebody made a map of
They
that.
call it a mine.
Oh, mine!
I would definitely run a Mines of Moria campaign where we take the mines and you're just dwarves from LOTR.
Okay, so let's just rattle
Alternate
off.
history.
So pros.
Does that get your juices
That
flowing?
would be so good!
So pros. What's good about Mega Dungeon? Go.
It's everything that's good about a dungeon except mega.
And those things are.
No. Okay. So
More
you have
of it.
resource management,
Exploration.
danger, darkness.
So here's the deal. I didn't know about
Exploration.
old school D&D.
Okay.
You know when it clicked for me? When I read the Mincer Red Box. It's a version of basic D&D edited by Mincer. It's got the dragon on the cover. Well, there are 2 of them that are red and box sets that have dragons on the cover. But not the other one, not Moldvay, but Mincer. It has a sample adventure where it has you create a character and then go into a very small dungeon. But you're so weak that you end up having to go in and out multiple times, which is in effect what a mega dungeon produces in you phenomenologically. Do you see?
Yes.
So you're continually making progress and figuring out where things are, and you're mapping it and continually gaining mastery over something, not by increasing numbers, but by increasing knowledge. And I love that. With a 30-room dungeon, you're not going to get that. You're going to blow it out in 1 or 2 goes, and you're done. You're on to the next thing. So, yeah, Roll Tide.
I would love doing. I would have a lot more incentive doing a mega dungeon and a situation similar to what you're talking about with the Moria campaign, where you're trying to recapture Moria from the.
Because you got a strong
goblins.
narrative thread there, too, right?
There's a narrative thread there, which really helps me. But then What if you had a settlement after you cleared the first several top, and you put a settlement in the top floor?
We did a campaign like that via play-by post called Homeland.
Mm-hmm.
It was just Moria with the serial numbers filed off.
Bringing it back.
Yeah, Josh loved that one.
Yeah, he did.
But
There was a lot of quality stuff there for sure. But
And so maybe you don't actually like.
that's not a good idea for play-by-post though. That was dumb.
You have to like leave Mines of Moria and travel all the way to, I don't know what the closest city would be.
That would be Rivendell.
Rohan.
no,
Rivendell
I
or
mean,
something.
but you'd have to roll up with like your servants and all that. I mean, with your people, with your crew, with wagons
Your
of
retinue.
rations. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, it's like it's a real campaign, like in the Crusades kind of sense. I mean, you know. Okay, anyways,
Days full.
You're probably not the leaders of this campaign. You're just on the
Well, you
payroll.
could do a thing where it's you handle all the logistics as part of play, or you could just like let the game take care of that, and you just worry about being the strike force.
But you wouldn't be able to come in with like just your level 1, starting equipment. You'd have to give your own starting equipment.
I don't know. Anyway, so I think we got mostly roll tides from that.
Yeah.
So for
come
10.
on.
Small dungeons.
yeah. Oh no, but I
Roll
just
Tide.
wanted to say, but there are cons that weren't covered, and I just want to hear Tim's voice here. What do you hate about it? Does it seem aimless?
I think it's situational. Like
You get sleepy.
I don't
You
like.
hate torches.
I
You
guess
hate
so-
open door checks.
I don't like certain reasons. It just depends on like the overall setting. I generally don't like just going back and forth and back and forth. And if it's, I think there's got to be a middle ground. Most of the mega dungeons I've seen, I think, are too mega, and I'm just thinking like, no, I just don't even want to bother with this. But like maybe if you scaled it down to half that, I'd probably buy it in because I could feel like this is something that's achievable. And
So it's all about size for you.
well, it's also size and maybe some of the fictional setting and the buy-in. Like, what's the point of why we're going here? I get tired of we just need to make money for a thing and let's go do that thing.
No, and I feel that, for me, where I get lost in a mega dungeon, no pun intended there, is really hurt. No, so the place I get lost in it is if it seems too random or something. If it
Right, yeah, I
if it's
don't
not
like
tied
that.
together by some sort of thematic structure or some sort of rationale. I can definitely get frustrated with that. If things just, what the heck is any of this doing?
Yeah.
Why is this room next to this?
I
room? Why does this even make sense?
I think part of that, and even though I know there can be purpose and design
When you have multiple factions of like monsters fighting, I generally don't like them because I don't know. I don't like it when I feel like we have all these different monster types that are just a faction inside of this large area. Because
That's the best part about
because
mega
it feels
dungeons.
like thematically it's hard for me as a player to really see that cohesion. And tying together.
There has to be cohesion. I think it has to make sense so you can make some intuitive leaps, and I think that's part of the player knowledge thing that is appealing. That's part of the exploration, sort of feeling that out. If it just seems just kind of thrown together on a randomized table and it's a mega dungeon,
I would hate that.
I'd rather exactly. That's what I'm saying. I'd rather do something, and I think we've had mega dungeon experiences where it at least felt like that. This last one that we've been playing, which is what is it?
Barrel Maze.
Yeah, Barrow Maze. Yeah, that's right. Seems fine so far.
I don't know. The guy who wrote it may have just rolled up stuff from random tables.
Maybe. Yeah.
I don't know. But I know he has a theme behind the whole thing. But, individual rooms, there's too many to make them all super bespoke. So sometimes it's just, there's skeletons there.
Well, so that's why I would really appreciate it if make it less large. And then give.
But the whole point is that it's so large that you have to map it and you can get lost.
Well, that's fine.
But is that the whole point?
It can still be large.
Then it's not a mega dungeon. It's just a
the
dungeon.
possibility of getting lost is kind of the point.
Well, but mapping and getting lost, that's just down to player skill.
Well, no, it's
So-
not. If you can keep a mental map of it in your head.
But I guess I see it a little differently. I see it more like you are making a campaign, like a weeks long, months long kind of thing to excavate this giant space that has treasure in it or something like that. It's not really about getting lost. It's about going in, pushing in as far as you can, seeing what's there. Maybe there's nothing, resting, and just repeating over and over again, exploring this giant space.
Gary's Greyhawk Castle had 13 levels.
That's awesome.
It doesn't have to have 300. It doesn't have to have 300 rooms for like it to be. Aha! This is going to guarantee people get lost. I mean, you can just have people who are bad at mapping and who are bad at directions.
We're talking about averages. Like no one's going to get lost in a 20-room dungeon.
That's fine. I'm fine with like 50 rooms, but like at that point, I'd feel like there's just too much filler, or it doesn't have a lot of purpose. I like there to be a lot of thought and design into every little detail. So for me,
so there is a dungeon called Maze of the Blue Medusa.
I was about to mention that one.
Where every room is like bespoke, I guess, in a sense. There's a lot of details that aren't really filled in.
Yeah, it's definitely bespoke.
It is unique, and it's tied into an overarching narrative in every area, and then all those areas are kind of tied in. And it's a lot of fun. But then you also, I mean, I guess you can get lost. I guess,
you could.
but that's
Maze of Blue Medusa for me was maybe a little too much.
It's too. I think that's the thing. It's too busy. It needs empty rooms. It needs downtime in it.
It was so much.
It's too much.
and I think part of the problem I think I suffered from playing that, and I don't want to go into this too much. This is not a Maze of Blue Medusa review, but was that we were doing it as like one or two shot.
Yeah.
We were not there to do the campaign as written, and so I think I suffered in my experience for that.
I hear that.
So you guys are saying Megadungeons, when they're good, they're so good. When they're bad, they're so bad.
Yeah, basically.
And I didn't like the aesthetic of Maze of Blue Medusa.
And
Well, I didn't either.
I felt
But I know Jim does.
I think it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
A lot of fun. It's the kind of thing I'd just it'd be.
But again, we haven't really done a Mega Dungeon. We've done 2 sessions in a Mega Dungeon.
And I haven't even been part of that.
So, and
in 2 sessions of Maze of Blue Medusa too that were like kind of guided.
And Dungeon Academy is a Mega Dungeon. Although that's not the point of Dungeon Academy. The point is everything around the dungeon. The dungeon is just there to go into for... Well, I think that's the point of every Mega Dungeon. It's just there as a challenge to go into for loot that you want for other reasons.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway. Small dungeons.
Roll Tide.
Roll Tide.
What's wrong with it? Why would anyone be against small dungeons, really?
I could say that they're a waste of time. And that...
I felt a little annoyed with those little burrows we were going through in CCQ the other night.
Yeah.
Like, just because it was so...
It was Alabama, by the way.
Oh, yeah, it was Alabama.
Mm-hmm.
It was just like one after the other. It was like...
It's part of Barrow Maze. But I told you guys, these are not the main entrances.
Yeah.
So, that if a dungeon's too small, you can just feel unsatisfied by it. Like there's not enough material there to gain traction and feel like you've explored.
I at least want like this to have a clue or something to...
Yeah.
I mean, if it's just a random cave on the side of the road, all right, whatever. You know, okay, I'm not going to feel like I really wasted my time. But when there's like 10 of them right outside of this area that we know is significant... I don't want those little 10 things. I want it to mean something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, but do you really feel that it means something when you're told that what you're going to explore means something?
See, yeah, that's kind of where I said I don't know at the end, because I agree with that anyway.
I was fine with it because I was like, this is a small achievable goal we can get in the 30 minutes that we have to play.
That's another thing.
We started late, and also because of, I didn't know what was going to be in there. I did not think there was going to be a high chance at all of there being anything worthwhile, but at least we could mark it off our checklist and know that, okay, we've at least explored these.
It's like logging in and doing your dailies.
That's right. I got it done. Got a little bit done. Just chipped away at the goals.
Roll Tide then.
Speaking of which, I need to do that tonight.
I need to do that.
For what, Fortnite?
Yeah.
Fortnite.
Yeah.
Baby games.
Exploring a town like a dungeon.
No.
I don't think so.
No, what is that? What does
No.
that mean?
Have we done that ever?
Yeah.
Almost every town is written up as if it's a dungeon.
Oh, okay. Written up as if it's a dungeon, as in everything's described in detail with all this stuff.
And then, so there is a famous product that was created near the birth of the hobby called City State of the Invincible Overlord. Such a tight name.
That's epic.
I know. And it's a huge city that is marked out as if it's a dungeon. And you go into a shop and maybe it's run by a genie who's going to attack you. Or maybe he's just going to sell you stuff. It's like the city is dangerous and has dungeons in it. And while you're going through the streets, there may be random encounters.
Okay, so I have to rescind and say I can answer this because I've never done it.
It's completely wacky. It's a different aesthetic. Yeah. Although it's a continuum as well, because you could have a less weird. So like Hamlet is keyed like it's a dungeon.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
Information design is no different. and it's written up as it's a dungeon as well. So you could say, I go to hut number 3, and I could lay out the map for you. I go here, I go here, I go here. I'm not sure that's great.
You know what would be cool? Playing as like a chimney sweep child in 18th century or 19th century England, like London, and having random encounters on the streets. And having to do your job, fighting off dogs. And
That's very like into the
what
odd.
you're saying is you've just seen like your inspiration for your first campaign.
There you go.
yeah, it sounds cool.
It does sound fun, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Because humans are interesting enough without adding all these other crazy races.
I think he would like
Into the odd.
Into the Odd, and also I think
That's the aesthetic of Into the Odd is 19th century.
What's the other
Great.
thing?
Blades in the Dark?
Blades in the Dark.
Yeah. That's
Which I wish we had recorded that.
should've
The one
recorded
we
it.
recorded with the patron. It was so good. I wish we'd recorded it.
That's
Oh.
just what jumped into my mind when you were talking about city dungeons. I was thinking about executing exploration in a city as if we were playing CCQ, and I thought, no.
And we also did a Thieves Guild campaign there in the wall
But I
map.
think it's situational. I think sometimes it's okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna say no, but it can be situations where it's roll type.
Yeah, I don't want to say roll tide.
I'm saying in general, if you're writing up a city for presentation, don't pretend it's a dungeon. Write it
No.
up differently.
Okay, I'm gonna agree with you there. So I'm
Okay.
gonna.
What kind of campaign are you running? Is it a murder hobo campaign? Is it going to be an urban campaign? I mean, if it's a typical kind of D&D thing, I just don't get the point. No.
Like
Yeah.
when I did my thing that I created, literally I drew 3 little triangles on the map that represented this is going to be the city. Like it looked like little big A-frame houses, lodges. That was the city area, right? And I told you there was a couple key landmarks in the place.
And I didn't know that was what that was because it just seemed like a normal town to me when I was playing. So it's fine.
But there was all that I said was, hey, there's a tavern, there's a loading dock for the logs, and then that's all. And it's like, and then the rest of it's just like a logging.
Because there's
mountain
two.
town.
It's like when you go into a dungeon and there's a bedroom, you don't want to detail everything that's in the bedroom. There's a dresser. There's a bedside table. There's a lamp on the table. There's shoes under the bed. There's a closet. There's 17 pairs of clothes in the closet. You just say it's a bedroom, and then one infers the contents accordingly. And if you need to get specific, the DM can make a resolution on the fly. And I believe cities are like that because there's too much stuff in a city to present in the format that a dungeon is presented, whereas dungeons are mostly featureless corridors with 1 or 2 interesting things in a room.
Like if you guys had gone into a house that I hadn't mapped out, I'd have just been like, okay,
You're in a house.
you go in a house, there's
Yeah.
a room, and you say, I'm looking for shoes. Okay, you find some shoes.
Exactly.
If you told me
Yes.
you wanted a specific kind of shoe, I'd be like, okay, well, let me see if those are there. And I'd roll a die. Nope, they're not there.
Yep.
Yeah, there's also no downside to just making it up, and that's
Exactly.
I mean, it's,
There's no like
it's,
there's no like serious problem solving that you have to do in a town like that.
Yeah.
let me
No.
roll my random table for everything that's in this room,
Yeah. I don't know.
and then watch everyone die.
But if you do go into someone's house looking for stuff, I'm gonna roll to see if someone finds you and you have some sort of encounter.
Yeah.
It's gonna increase your chance for conflict.
Okay, we're good. Clerics.
Roll tide.
roll die.
All right, bards. No.
No.
What
No.
kind of bard?
I need to hear you guys talk
I just
about
want you to
this.
say. I just want you to react.
Oh.
Just react.
No.
No, and it's just because of my naturalistic tendencies.
I think I could
apologize.
create a
That's-
bard that I
for
thought
me,
would be
that's what
cool.
holds me back.
But and then the way they've been presented in every campaign I've ever seen, no.
I think this warrants a war eagle.
Because I've heard some cool bards. Like I've watched some playthroughs of homebrew stuff, and they have a lot of fun with bards. That I just like to hear you guys talk about bards.
Well, we have played bards, and they're very effective characters.
Yeah, like the adventures of Dave and Bart. Great episode. I had a throat singing bard, and we actually played it over the battles.
Yeah, it was good
worked
times.
for me. People people liked it for some reason. I don't know.
Yeah.
But it was a very strong character, and in fact, it's quite a powerful build. Like as you get up in levels, like level 15 or whatever. But even from the very start, it's pretty sick. But you say, why song? Song. You have to admit it the whole battle. I just.
It just seems kind of silly to me.
Oh wait, song and battle, like charming opponents.
Yeah.
Oh,
that
yeah,
what
you're
The
supposed
idea
to be
is your
playing.
music is magical.
Like
No.
you remember watching Scott Pilgrim, the dude with the guitar?
Yeah.
He's a bard.
I mean, if
No,
that's
it's
how it
okay.
works, I'd say roll tide.
But yeah, I guess that they would be like wizards or sorcerers or something else if they're using these magical things. If they actually are just influencing people in the same way that music typically influences people, it could be interesting. It could be a person who is a musician, but then they also are an adventurer in some other way, and that kind of maybe makes sense. So maybe they just
Yeah. So like, if your arcane focus happened to be your instrument, and maybe your somatic, you did all your somatic components in sing song.
You did meedly.
I don't have a problem with that.
yeah, but
That's
you're
fine.
actually a wizard.
But
yeah.
you're actually a wizard.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Zumba kazing. I want your attention, everything. Go on, let's go. Sorry.
I mean, that's just how you learn how to do it, right?
Yeah.
I mean, there are things that you do like that where you have kind of a little ritualistic thing that maybe isn't necessary, but
Like
it's just
songs, for example.
yeah, sure, okay.
The way I'd like to use bards is just if you are a bard, like if you just play an instrument for money,
Sure.
as a
More
fighter
of a job.
or a cleric or whatever.
Yeah, it was just as another class.
As another class.
As an
Or-
actual class.
Or to do an all bards campaign where you're a band.
No, never.
That
No way.
that would be tight, and I would do that tonight. I would do that tonight. I would make it all up tonight and
We're
not stress
traveling
about it.
So you need someone, like someone shows up at the table and they're like, "How did
So
you roll,
wait.
did you roll up a character?" And like, "Yeah, I rolled a bard." And it's like, "Okay, cool. What class did you pick?" Oh, that's great. What class?
Wait,
Jim.
so did we just get Name of the Wind in here with this whole traveling band idea?
Well, that's what it would be. All right. I have no idea what I meant by this. Mixed systems? What does that mean?
I think it means when you're crossing PF2 and 5e.
Could you mean hacks?
I don't know. No, I would have said hacks.
You're talking about
Mix.
crossplay.
I don't know what I'm talking about. Let's ignore that one. 4E.
roll tide.
I tried it.
Did you try it?
We tried it like one session where we took 5e and cut half of 5e out and put
You haven't played
some
4E.
4e. I didn't like what we did.
Yeah.
But 4E is everything that is
When I-
wrong with the game.
When I started looking at encounter powers and daily powers and
Yeah.
reaction and all, I was like, this is way too advanced. I did not like. I like the idea of min-maxing. I like the idea of coming up with really cool stuff that synergizes with your character and doing all that fun
Okay,
stuff.
we're gonna put it on
But
the
my man.
We're gonna put it on the calendar. I'm gonna run a 4E game. I'm gonna have characters
All that
pre-made.
stuff you're talking about, you do that in It's the
You
same
do
thing.
see. Tim
But it's
is
the
giving
exact-
you 4E revisionism, and the thing is, he's halfway right. Is a lot of 5E is just disguised. It's what do you call it?
Glossed?
No,
Revised?
no.
Simplified?
Crypto 4E.
Okay, so I get that, and I from what I've seen on YouTube and just trying to listen to podcasts and stuff, I see that, but it's just so much easier in 5e.
So 5E will go and spend 18 words to say something every time, when 4E has a keyword.
It's true.
And from an information design standpoint, the stat block of a 4E monster is this big. That's about 3 inches, maybe.
Average. Yeah.
Whereas the stat block of an equivalently complex 5E monster is about 3 times as long.
And then you get to 3.5.
And it's 15
and it's 2
times as
pages.
long.
Like when I actually looked at like high level enemies, like in Shackled City campaign, it's literally like a page and a half.
It's like you're playing a PC for every monster.
What is this? And you and they just list skills. So it's like, oh, here's all the skills. Here's all the spells. Here's all the feats.
Now you gotta go.
It's
Now you
like
gotta go look up what those are
cross-reference
in the
figure out
book.
what
Yeah,
those-
in 4E, the stat blocks contain everything you need to know to run it.
So
Yeah.
you described that, and that sounds great.
Yeah, but
But
However.
the mechanics of being a PC and playing and having all your and walking through all the different steps of the encounters does not appeal to me.
You know what's
It's
a
just-
great idea? We should take a mega dungeon and we should run it with 4th
no,
edition.
Bruh, look at this dude. Wait till you see the. No.
that would take.
If you want a recipe for nihilism,
Look, I would like to try 4E
rip.
in this is a minis combat session.
Yes,
Okay?
that's what it's for.
Let's really do the Dragoon thing, okay?
Yep.
Like, that's it.
So the way like Chris Perkins did it works completely for 4th edition. There's a bunch of story. There's like a little bit of like talking, a little bit of exploration or something, and then there's like a single set piece combat or 2 per session. Like
because that's all you can fit. Because it takes a long time because it's important mechanically. So that has a really bad side in that you can't do anything else while it's going on, and a good side if you like it.
But you can spend a lot of time thinking about like a single cool fight or 2, or something like that, where like there are multiple stages or of combat or surprise things that happen in it. Something interesting that you may not normally have if a room's just stocked with
I also
creatures.
think it'd be better, just like I mentioned with Pathfinder 2, if you knew all the rules.
Yeah.
Well.
But 4E is even easier if you don't know all the rules, I think.
It is.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, all the
it's a better
keywords,
Pathfinder 2 than Pathfinder 2.
the action economy and the keyword stuff, like
It's very simple.
It does make it very simple.
Okay. I mean...
That's why, like, many times, like, you will still hear me slip up, and I'll say, like, bonus action. Wait, no. No, I said minor. I say minor action. Yeah, it's
minor
still,
move standard, baby.
Yeah, it's still there in my head because it did make a lot of sense mechanically.
So after all that, can you reiterate roll tide or no for you?
No, but in extremely narrow use cases, roll tide.
My heart says roll tide.
My heart says roll tide.
I'm gonna say
I enjoyed all the time we played it.
open-minded gnaw.
But what about the art though? I mean,
Art's
I
garbage.
think almost everything about it was just everything that's wrong with.
It's all Pathfinder art.
It is.
It's literally Pathfinder art.
Yeah.
The same artist.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Hate it.
Okay. Yeah. me
Sorry,
too.
guy.
Monks. Monks get
Roll
a
tide.
hard gnaw from me.
So I can get behind a monk.
Yeah, monk. It's
Yeah,
I think it's
but-
you gotta have it in lore, but I give it a roll tide.
I hate it so much I had to make monks animated like statues. That's how much in Alabama. That's how much I hated monks.
Yeah.
Even in my most liberal setting to vanilla, I had to go crazy on the monks.
So I like the idea of fighting men who are specifically trained in hand-to-hand combat, and I like the idea of some Eastern aesthetic that includes key.
See, that's what I hate. I
powers
don't
or
want
something,
East
but-
meets West. I want to play in an Eastern campaign or a Western campaign. I want to segregate. And maybe it's because I'm from Alabama.
Roll tide.
Roll Tide.
Jim
But
Crow over here.
I don't like mixing the aesthetics in the campaign. I want a monk, if we're playing in like some kind of Western Europe with the serial numbers filed off, to just be a cleric, essentially. To just be like a holy man.
I mean, monks definitely can feel weird in the campaign to me,
Because they're doing kung fu up in here.
but just like Doctor Strange feels weird to me.
I don't know anything about that.
I just
Never seen a movie, never will.
Right. I'm thinking about this now from Daniel's
No way.
perspective. Adding monks anywhere, or adding these conflicting ideas. It's like watching Ready Player One or The Avengers or
Yeah.
something. It's
You might as well just add Aztec warriors in there too while you're at it.
It's just kind
And
of
Romans that are time skipped.
So what if they were wizards who also were trained to hand-to-hand
Punch
combat?
wizards.
Muscle wizards, I can get behind.
Okay, do you see what I'm saying? I mean, because if
that
you're
what they are?
saying
You
magic,
just gotta reskin it.
magic works one way in the world, and that's how it works. Okay, and you're a punchy wizard now.
Yeah. So
fine.
I can take them as fighters.
Yeah.
That just work mostly hand to hand, like brawlers or something like
Sure,
that.
they maybe have some light magic
But
stuff.
see, all-
just
don't skin it as
All their
like
powers are usually
he-
scanned like Fist of the Shivering Lotus or something.
Yeah,
I'm just like,
yeah.
"Ugh, give me a break.
Oh, the names are awful.
Yeah.
Like just reskin it and just give it different names and it's fine.
Yeah. Or play in
Put it
Japan.
in Eastern, or
play
put it
in
in Eastern
Japan.
State,
Yeah.
or China,
Or
Jeez.
China.
Or make them robot.
Or make them animated statues.
Thank you. Okay.
Okay.
Can we play Eastern D&D soon?
There,
Sometime.
yeah, there's lots of good stuff out
we
there.
might offend some people if we play Eastern D&D.
What?
That's not possible. I'm 1/4 Japanese.
Yeah, I'm one.
See, I know the language. Hi,
Hi,
Yeah, I'm two.
That's like half of it.
ni hao.
Kylan.
Yeah, that's Japanese.
It's
Counterspell.
Counterspell, yes.
Yes.
Roll
yes,
Tide.
yes,
Roll
Tide.
Tide.
Roll
And I think
Tide.
it should be a more. I think it should be more central. I
It should
think
be a
it should
cantrip?
be something that happens earlier, and I think it should be incorporated to the magic system very thoroughly.
I think you should
and
be able
not
to do it
just a
level
single
1.
spell. Exactly.
Level one.
I think it should be there from the start, and an important part of what magic versus magic. Just like you have fighting men versus fighting men.
Yeah,
in a way.
wizard duels.
Exactly.
Yes.
Wizard duel.
I think that's something severely lacking. Is like the whole idea of wizard dueling is not even a thing.
Unplayable. Trash. WotC. Fix your product.
Wizard Duel's Roll Tide. I'd never even heard of counter spells until now.
Yeah, it's like a 4th level spell or something.
It's
It needs
a-
to be
third level.
third
It
level.
needs to be
It's
a
a
leveled spell. Like a level 1, you get this, and then at level 2, if you cast at level 2, it'll do this special
Yeah,
thing,
yeah,
and
yeah.
then it goes all the way to whatever level you want.
I mean, it's like the standard for any blue-based deck, where you gotta have you
Exactly.
gotta have at least 4 counter spells in there.
So the way it works, Mason, in 5e, somebody starts casting a spell, you can use your reaction to cast Counterspell, and then either, depends on the interaction between them, but you'll either automatically or the spell. So it's like counter sniping.
Just like
Pay
Expelliarmus.
3 mana,
Yeah.
pay cancel.
They're casting fireball on you. Oop, counterspell.
Yep.
Nope, they're not.
No, you're not doing that, baby.
So good.
Shut down.
It's with high level 5e, it gets bonkers with that stuff. It's like playing Magic the Gathering if you have a high level wizard. It's a completely different
Man,
ballgame.
playing against a really good blue deck that's like a counter deck in Magic is one of the most infuriating
Yeah.
things you can do.
I know it. I mean,
It's like
That's what I used to play.
nope,
Awesome.
you can't play this game.
Yeah.
It's like, I want to do this. No, you can't.
Yu-Gi-Oh! Go play Yu-Gi-Oh!
my deck is all about making sure that you can't do anything that your deck.
We're
wants
almost
to do.
done. We're almost done.
Oof.
Decrement your torches.
No.
Was that a question?
Yes.
Roll Tide.
Roll Tide.
Roll
No.
Tide. So I'll say Roll Tide at the start of the game, but I feel like it can become pretty irrelevant as the game wears on at higher levels. But I know Daniel's ideal game does not go to higher levels.
That's correct.
Well,
So-
here's the thing, though.
So then
That's
that
at higher
might have a moot
levels.
point.
At higher levels, it's irrelevant.
At higher levels, you just
Yeah,
get
I
like
think it becomes
lanterns and
irrelevant
stuff,
pretty
and then you can just
No,
get
at higher levels, you have like
Done with
18
it.
people casting magic junk all the time, and
There's no sweat.
nobody's even using torches. Okay. Making maps in character.
Roll Tide.
Okay.
So I think there's a part of it where you do capture the space mentally. I don't know how to capture that, but I'll say in general, yes, absolutely.
I'm a big.
Yeah.
We all know what I think.
Yeah.
I think that also you should be allowed to have, especially if you're not playing the same thing like week back to back to back to back. You should be able to have a very small percentage chance to roll a very mundane memory about something. You
I can
can't-
see what you're saying. Like if we haven't played the campaign in a month, and you come back and you didn't make a map. Well,
Yeah.
But your character would know. Yeah.
Yeah.
I can see that. That's the time for an intelligence check. I would agree.
But mundane details, not anything.
Yeah. Not crazy stuff.
crazy.
Adventure paths.
Roll Tide.
Roll Tide.
Yeah.
No.
Wait, hold on.
Adventure Path is like a mini campaign.
It tells you this
Kinda rail-
happens,
can be railroady.
and then you go here, and so we did. I don't know what episodes you listened to when our first like 3 seasons or whatever were all adventure paths. We did Temple of Elemental Evil.
Horde of the Dragon Queen.
That wasn't recorded.
Prince Apocalypse.
That's what it is. That's basically Temple of Elemental Evil.
Oh, okay.
Prince of the Apocalypse. We did. What's the other ones we did? Out of the Abyss.
That's it. Yeah.
I think those are the only 2 WotC adventure paths we did on the podcast.
Yeah.
But it's supposed to take you like 6 months to a year to go through, and
It's
you
like-
don't have to make anything up.
Yeah, everything's laid out for you. It's like from the places they could go, from character level, like
thing you
1
ran
to
was-
5, 1 to 10, whatever. Yeah, the thing I did was a
Small adventure path.
yeah, small adventure path. level
Usually
1 to
they take
5.
you levels 1 to 15 or levels 1 to 20.
Yeah.
Like
Oh, but it
That's
doesn't have to be that far. But
doesn't have.
Yeah.
But usually adventure path, as opposed to module or adventure, means it takes you a long time.
Okay, adventure path's more like a campaign, really.
Well, it's like a series
I
of
don't.
modules.
I don't.
maybe.
I don't like it. I like having. Okay, there is something going on. You can go, and there will be. This will continue and develop as you interact with it. But you know what? If you would rather just let that play out on its own and go deal with this other thing, you can.
Yeah, I generally think that having an adventure path, because it's so much content, is unlikely to be interesting to a lot of people over time. Whereas with smaller, more agile approaches,
Ugh, don't say that.
sorry, I said it.
to me.
You can get something that is more like what you like rather than what corporate RPG, what big RPG thinks you want, which is obviously going to be diluted and lame.
Possibly, yeah. I mean, I feel like,
or at least poorly
I
edited.
I feel like you bring yourself to it. I mean, I think it just generates a lot of content that you can sort of fit to your needs in a consistent world with consistent characters and a reference book, which is something you may make anyways, just making your own campaign.
So here's what I would like, as opposed to adventure path. That implies linearity. I would like
Implies.
a campaign framework, like how to run this kind of campaign.
Sure.
I want a campaign where we're stuck behind enemy lines. And then here's a bunch of tools to help you create the stuff you need easily, and some pre-generated stuff to help you do that. If I had the choice between that and stuck behind occupied Waterdeep, I'm going to choose the more general one. But those don't exist. Roll Tide. I mean, no.
Wait a second.
We are on the last three.
Okay.
Spelljammer.
Ooh,
Roll
no.
Tide. Roll Tide. Roll Tide.
No.
Spelljammer
no,
is the-
I don't
Do you know what
think
Spelljammer is?
No.
I don't think so.
Spelljammer is D&D in space with spaceships powered by wizards.
No, but it's more than that.
No, that's what it is.
Roll
no,
time.
No, but it's not just that. I mean, it combines the different worlds or different campaign.
Oh, well, it
settings
lets
and
you do that.
all
Like,
this.
so Forgotten Realms could be a planet.
But if you want to have a space campaign, that sounds great. And the ships could totally be powered by wizards. That sounds awesome. But I mean, as a
So when I
setting
think
where
of
it is
spell-
all settings,
No,
I think
that,
it's garbage.
That's garbage.
Yeah.
That's a hard no.
I can't even make sense of that.
So you're talking about like a multiverse kind of.
Yes, that's what Spelljammer was made to do. To be a multiverse that connected all the 2E settings.
It was
So
very
you-
2
So you go to Ravenloft planet, Dark Sun planet, Greyhawk planet,
meta tour kind of
Forgotten Realms planet.
Say no to that, but yes to the concept.
Space.
Yes to a
ships.
sci-fi fantasy kind of wizards in space thing.
Yeah, that's really,
You know, basically like Firefly in space.
I'm fine with Star Wars.
You find if you're fine with wizard spaceships, that counts as Spelljammer to me.
It could
Roll
basically
Tide.
be like the Expanse, really. It could be the Expanse. It could be
Okay,
the Expanse.
so we're
Big
qualified Roll Tide.
I'll
I
go with a
think.
roll title.
Roll
Roll Tide.
Dark
but-
Sun.
But no.
Roll
Yeah,
Tide.
Roll
Tide.
Tide.
The little we
I think it's
played of it and what
What's
I
that?
understand.
I don't know Dark Sun.
Desert, Sorcerer Kings, low magic, insect people. It's really hot.
Kind of Mad Maxy. Little bit of
Yeah, Mad Max
post-apocalyptic
with
world.
a bunch of like morally, like pretty much everything is terrible.
Yeah.
All right. I mean, I don't.
Yeah, magic is
Sounds
not
fine.
common. There are
Halflings
like
are
the-
cannibals.
like magic is super deadly, but also not common. And like the Sorcerer Kings rule in like their different, the few cities that remain.
But perhaps the gods have fled the world.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no clerics.
Yeah.
It's praying mantis people.
It's great.
Yeah, praying mantis people.
It's just Sam Harris, the RPG.
It's like,
Gnomes.
No.
No. How would you be a no? I played a few gnomes.
Kind of ironic.
I feel like
let's
a
see.
hypocrite for saying it, but I just don't like them.
Okay, what about you? Do you have an alternative position
I don't think
on
he.
gnomes?
I don't think
What's
he even
the-
knows like what a D&D gnome is
I've
like.
listened to one of Jim's characters as a
Oh,
gnome,
God.
but when you guys are playing gnomes, you forget about the fact that it's a gnome. So
I
what is a
try to
gnome?
forget about
Yeah.
it.
What does a gnome do? In
It's
this
a
world?
crappy halfling. It's like an
So
annoying.
it's a smaller halfling.
It's an emotionally stunted, intellectually impaired halfling.
But
They
they're
live a long
super good at
time. They're
mechanical
mechanically,
things.
So, you know, if you've got a world that has a lot of mechanical stuff going on, maybe. But it's just, I don't know. It's just.
That's what humans are for. We got
Okay.
brains.
No,
Oh yeah,
here's-
we went to Blingden Stone.
No,
Blingden-
no, I'm not coming down here anymore.
Like, Neblins and.
So I ran that place more than once, and both times I would frequently forget their gnomes.
Yeah.
Because it's just like you think about these little, I don't know, little gnome things, and it's
Make it-
just hard to visualize.
Make it non-playable and don't call it a gnome so Daniel can like it.
There you go.
No, I think you just go to a place where like tiny things like that are just they don't have normal human cares or something.
Like-
I don't know.
Like, I would be cool with a gnome if he was in a mech.
Sure.
No,
Mecha gnomes.
still no. Still
be
hard
cool.
no.
I'm cool with gnomes who have red
Or mechanical-
cone hats and ride on foxes.
Mechanical.
You mean red
mounts.
hats? No, I'm serious. That's the thing.
No, it's
I
like-
mean
it's
David
like-
the gnome.
No, it's David the gnome. Right.
What does he have a red hat?
He
Yeah.
did.
That's a D&D monster called a red hat.
Well,
They got the
A red
David
cap,
the
red
gnome.
cap, red cap. What is David the
Is that
gnome?
a
Poor
Scandinavian?
Daniel doesn't know what David the Gnome
He
is.
rode on a fox. He had a pudgy little wife who's a adorable.
It was a great cartoon.
They dyed their little hats.
They're called red caps. They're like awful gnomes. And
He was a
Not
he was
David.
a doctor. I guess he was a doctor, like a vet.
But like animals. He's like a veterinarian.
He's like a veterinarian. He lived in the woods. He took care of animals.
Yeah, baby. David's a gnome. They would rub noses.
That was like my favorite show, man.
I've not ever seen this.
Scandinavian?
No.
I have no idea what that is.
All right, I'm gonna watch. I'm gonna show you.
You guys are so old. You're like 1 year older than me.
So in my head, this is what I pictured a gnome as.
Yeah.
This is my source material. This is my appendix in.
Did it come on TV or something?
Yeah.
Yeah, on Nickelodeon.
Are you admitting to being biased?
I never saw Nickelodeon. That's probably why.
Oh man.
Okay, and the last one, Drow.
No.
Roll Tide.
I used to be Roll Tide. I'm not now.
Roll Tide and Gnaw.
But why not?
In my world, Drow are just elves. There's no difference.
Oh, I see.
So it really didn't count.
So it doesn't count. It doesn't count.
No.
So no.
But aren't Drow elves though?
Yeah,
Yeah.
but they're bad elves from underground.
They're basically bad racist elves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Drow?
No.
No.
Roll Tide.
Roll Tide.
That was a long Roll Tide or Gnaw. Oh, what did you say, Mason?
He didn't know.
No. No.
So now it's time for the meta.
That was
the
26 items.
the meta.
It was too
Roll
much.
Tide or Gnaw. Roll Tide or
Hey,
Gnaw.
we need to do some listener questions at some point.
That's a great idea.
There actually do have people ask us questions that care what we think. Sometimes it's really weird.
Yeah, if you join our Patreon, patreon.com/GGNoRe, for $1 a month, less than a cup of coffee, you can get all of our vast benefits, like mostly just chatting with us in Discord.
What else could you need?
And
Or help with your SSDs in Fortnite.
or SSD, yeah.
Oh, jeez.
Or Destiny 2.
Somebody please play Destiny 2.
Or Dark Souls, or Bloodborne, or any of the video games we play. You can hang out with us. But yeah, if you do have questions, dear listener, get in touch with us somehow. G+, our website, ggnorecast.com, our Twitter, ggnorecast.
We love your questions, your comments, your critiques.
We'll disregard everything idiotic you say and only keep the kernels of truth.
We will automatically still man your argument every time. We will round it up.
That's right. I've never heard that. Steel man? That's good.
We
I
will
like
round
that.
it up.
That's-
D&D likes to round down.
We're going to round
We
up.
will round it up for you.
GG no rate. All right.
I think that was a rock solid episode.
Rock
Yeah,
solid.
episode.
How long? An hour. Goodness sake.
It's a lot harder than it looks.